I think today what I really want to hear about is two things.
Sure.
Okay. One is
Mhm.
how did you actually really decide that you need to teach online?
How did I decide?
Oh yeah.
I think it was triggered by me taking the first class online of myself. I you probably heard of Udacity.
Yeah.
So they had this course called Introduction to Python or Introduction to Programming through Python. And I wanted to do because I knew tech was slowly coming into education, and being a computer science background, I wanted to just have fun with it. So I took that course and I realized that they were teaching literally with the same Wacom tablet that designers use. And I'm like, if they can do this, I got to figure out a solution to do this for myself. So the technology was the one. So the finally when Apple iPad came out, iPad Pro with the pencil, I knew, okay, so what I'm teaching in a classroom can be recorded and put on live. So a live class recording was inspired by MIT's OpenCourseware. They were the first MOOCs before anybody else came around. What they used to do was put a camera in the classroom, record the teacher, and put them online for the whole world to learn. This was about 15, 20 years ago, before Khan Academy, before anybody else.
And of course before COVID.
Before COVID. So they were the first ones to do it. And I was like, okay, so if I can make the recording easier, I can record every class. So what I started doing was, I started recording every class of mine that I'm teaching in school live. So I put up a mic. That mic would hook up to both the iPad and the speaker in the classroom. And I would record my screen from the iPad. This was like 3.5 years ago. And I would share with my kids in school. And I'd say, let's see where this goes. And YouTube was becoming popular at that time. So I was like, you know what? I want to be on this. That's the only thing I know how to be. So, the chemistry is the only thing I knew really at that time. Like people knew me for. So I was like, let me put this out there.
Yeah.
Let's get some credibility going. Also, also selfishly, I wanted people to know that, hey, I teach chemistry. And I wanted to be the best at it. So after a year of doing this, Ali and Mazada convinced me to let's do this consciously for the website, for the platform, YouTube. And then we started doing that. Then we got involved with Alt, and then the rest is history.
Nice.
Basically.
Very good. So in a way, okay,
Yeah.
you could also say that because of your computer engineering
Yes.
background,
Computer science background.
computer science background is now kind of allowed you to come full circle with how you use and utilize the things in your life. And
I think so. I think it reduces the barrier to entry because people are always afraid of technology.
Yeah.
Generally, you have to be in the earlier stages of innovation to want to even try new things out.
Yeah.
And if you're a computer science major, you're not so scared of trying new things out because things have failed and you're okay with them. So Ali Nazada also, by the way, himself, even though he teaches economics, is a computer science graduate in undergrad. So he also had no resistance to trying. So every time I'd propose new technology, he'd try it out. He'd say yes. So I think our fearless approach to technology and not worrying about making a mistake and seeing how this goes. The early adopter. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
The early adopter mindset. So that comes from having a tech background. Absolutely. Because you have to have that to innovate in tech.
Yeah. Like I know, like for example, I know so many teachers who, perfectly smart, perfectly exposed, but they're not exposed to tech and they're not from a generation that came from tech.
Yeah.
So they, even in COVID, were just like,
what to do?
What do you do? And it's not that hard. Actually.
And it's not just a generation thing. I know people younger than me who can do it.
Yeah.
So they had to be, yes, but people your age and your generation wouldn't be so scared of it.
Yeah, we'll adapt better.
Yes.
I think is the thing. We're used to the adaptation of it all.
Yes, because the world has changed much faster with you guys around than before you. Yeah.
So, so it started off like this, right? So first you decided, you took a class on Udacity, essentially.
Yes, yeah.
And you had seen the MIT videos.
Yeah.
And hence you were like, okay, so this is really cool.
It
How
is.
about I try this out for myself? Because I'm techie enough for this.
Yeah, and I actually felt that two things. My students should be able to watch me whenever they're in the mood. Not that they have to come to 8 o'clock in the morning class and be groggy and then...
And that's where I was getting.
Yeah, because I don't think people should be able to learn anytime they want. Why should it be everybody's biological clock, the day clock, the rhythm that they're in, the mood they're in? You can't predict 70 kids in a class all be in the learning mood at the same moment. It's unfair. But because that's all we know, we think that's the only way it can be done.
Yeah.
And now the world is showing us there's so many more ways. I mean, the biggest teachers in the world are on YouTube. They have got 6 million followers. I'm not saying academic YouTubers. I'm saying there's still people who train people to do stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. Like I still remember the time Khan Academy became a thing.
Yeah,
you know? And I was young. So the internet
and it's all through, by the way,
YouTube.
They're all through YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
And
Like-
they're very young. They're very old, so they
Yeah.
probably are very young when that happened.
Yeah, so I was like, internet was a new thing to me. We had one computer in the house, desktop
Yeah.
situation, and we would just use that. And I'm a very theory centric person. So
Okay.
I understand the concept, and then
Mhm.
I can apply it in any which way.
But what you need to
want.
understand
But I
it.
need to
yeah.
understand. Nobody ever bothered to help me understand, right? So I would go and I would watch and watch and watch until I was able to like
Put your wrap your head around it. Yeah.
around my own head about
Yeah.
what it is. And I think that was insane to me. That
I think the
nobody-
beauty of just stopping and playing it again is beautiful.
yeah.
I mean, nowadays we do that for music, but we do it for audiobooks. So I'm listening to the audiobook, and for a moment I zoned out. I can just skip back and just
You
hear
don't
the
miss
last
the
15.
story.
You don't miss the story.
yeah.
And but in a class, in a live class, you miss something.
You
It's
always
never
miss
going to
it.
come back.
And
You
it's
always
so
miss.
hard because, and this
How do you expect people in this day and age
like
to?
it's almost
To pay
also,
attention
like,
for 50 minutes?
psychologically, I think almost scientifically also impossible, right? Like, I
I'm
mean,
sure it is.
You really look at the amount of
Where
information
else?
coming at
Yeah.
you, and you think it's gonna be easy to just grasp everything that's told in a vast concept.
And you, by the way, you're not even actively partaking in the discussion. Most of the time, you're just listening. You really can't do any other. I think the only thing you can do sitting for that long is watching a movie.
Oh, for sure.
Because even when you're in a
Even
theater,
then, like if the movie is not like
Completely
you know,
engaging,
amazing, then you
you
use
use
your
your
phone.
phone. Yeah.
And hence you're getting like at least 1,000 different cues in a minute.
Yeah.
Like,
And sometimes you miss something and say, oh, let's go back to the movie. Because live may you miss, I mean, it's very hard to keep you engaged.
yeah, and I think this is
And-
also a big. This is a concern I think the school should really realize. Solely for even scientific purposes, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, not just because COVID ho gaya hai, ab matlab online should always be a permanent option, but because like if you really think about it, with the way the internet works and how
Yeah.
the world is moving forward, you're going into a metaverse, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying to people that psychologically your brain in the new generation is geared towards accepting millions of cues in a day
Yeah.
and hence getting like instant gratification, and you think they're going to sit through
I like
8 to 3 ka classes
Absolutely. And they
without
want to.
movement of
Without
them.
movement often. Absolutely. I think that it's a criminal. In fact, I think it's so stupid. Like in Karachi, probably you know this, you live from far away from the workplace. It takes you half an hour, 45 minutes to get to work or work. Right?
Painful process.
Yeah, and most of these kids go in vans in school and home. So it takes them an hour to get to and from. Imagine in those 2 hours that you're traveling back and forth. You
It's
have
such a
learned 3
waste.
lectures. You just have to listen. Forget even watching them. If you were to able to hear your teachers. So it's not even just videos. We just don't want to experiment. I mean, you could just
Yeah.
record the audio in every class. And I tried doing that earlier. I didn't have enough manpower. That I could try to create podcasts of my classrooms every day. So that even if you don't have the video, they can download the audio, which is much smaller in bite-sized content. And you can just listen to it over the car ride or anything like that. It's just as a
Exactly.
revision. I mean, because you're doing nothing there anyways, right? So you just
Yeah,
do
and
that.
also I truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe there are people who simply don't want to learn, really, right?
Yeah,
Because
bola
either they're
kahani,
not like into it or they don't know what they want to do.
But still, they
then
want to
there's-
pass an exam, don't
yeah, but the thing is, I
Huh.
think everyone actually wants to learn. But
Yeah.
the system
They've been
of
told,
learning
mm.
is gamified to make sure your options are just limited all the time.
they? Yeah, and so it doesn't work for some people.
Yeah.
If they found a better way to learn, they will learn. Everybody wants to become better. Who doesn't want to become better?
I
It's just
remember,
that-
I don't know if you know Dan Brown.
Yeah, the writer.
books.
Yes,
So
yes.
I have done so much extensive analysis
Of his
that
books.
automatically helped me with literature also,
Okay.
because I would Google everything. I want to know if
Yeah.
this conspiracy theory is true, and I
Sure.
would be like,
Yeah, and then I understand that, and that's the ease of the internet, that you can search up anything.
and you consume information very
Yeah.
actively. Then I think that's
Yes.
a big thing.
Yeah.
Active
Finding it your way,
passive.
but passive. Absolutely, and I think that some people want to engage with the content, but not confident enough to interrupt a lecture and live lecture, because
Of course
then
not.
all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And many people, I hate would like, hey, I didn't get that, and everybody looks at you like, is this an
I
idiot?
hated that in class.
I know.
Like, I was forced into an engineering box
Acha.
in like O levels.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do architecture, right?
Okay, and then
And
they
I
said
was just
you said you have
miserable at
physics
it,
and
and
all
I
that
could
stuff.
not do it for the life of me.
Mm.
Physics, I found a really good tuition teacher. It was, he dumbed it down, made it relatable, and I was like, okay, cool. Ad math, I found a teacher who made it completely relatable. Like he would make like, because he
That's
was,
brilliant.
yeah, so that helped. But then chem, I was just
Yeah.
permanently miserably failing.
Most people don't
because-
like teaching chem also.
Yeah, so it's and there's potential in chem. I have never,
I'm sure.
Yeah, but
I know
it's
there
कोई
is. I
लेता
mean,
नहीं है. So
कोई
I
लेता
was
नहीं है.
stuck because I had no idea what to do.
I know.
I could not figure it out for the life of me. And I like physics. I like chem. I'm into cars, so it is only natural
Obviously.
that like I like those
Physics
things.
and chem. Yeah, fuel and all that stuff as well. Chemistry.
But
But nobody makes it relatable. Absolutely. And nobody makes it relatable. But you also got to be able to, like, let's say you understood something, but our memory is also bad. We forget stuff. We want to revise. How do I want to revise? You can go back to the nagging to teacher and make me revise. You mentioned tuition teachers, which means that's money your parents paid over and above paying the school.
Exactly. And it was like I felt like the school was such a waste of my time because not only was I feeling bad about myself permanently in class, the teachers were kind of rude to me.
That's
Attention
yeah.
was always on me because I just couldn't grasp the thing.
And it's your fault because
And
they
I
will make
just-
it your fault.
And I was just like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't get the concept. And it took me till uni. Like, I'm not joking when I say, like, uni. I was first year and I was liberal arts university. So we had to do like an energy course.
Okay.
We did everything in the lab. Wind energy, fuel making, everything. And it was so cool. I understood the
Because they made
logistics of
it
perfectly.
understandable. That's all.
And
So I think that's all. Obviously, I think the other part is university mein the course is created by the teacher. So you have the flexibility of teaching what you want. While in high school, it's done by a high stakes exam, so they decide what you want to study.
yeah.
So that's there also. But I think that we are just at the start of this space. Like, how can technology be used to be better, to make education better?
I like there's a
Yeah.
thing I like to say. I think post COVID especially that the
Yeah.
difference between innovation
Hmm.
and adaptation is missed opportunities.
Yeah, I think COVID has made people realize that you can be adaptable. It's easy
Yeah.
to adapt. You're afraid of adapting, but it's much easier than
Yeah.
what you think it is.
It's honestly like
I mean, if you work from home for a whole 6 months,
100%.
think about it. Anything
And
is
I
possible then.
think- Sorry.
Yeah.
Humans are like almost now gamified to not accept change.
Yeah.
On a deeper political,
Yes.
psychological level,
Yeah.
we're now gamified to
Because
not
I
be
really
okay
think
with
so.
change.
Well, because the way I look at schools right now, if I had to design a system where I want to make people not think, I would design schools exactly like that. They're designed to make sure nobody questions, nobody makes the rule, nobody questions, nobody works collaboratively
Corporate
also.
structure that way.
Yeah.
Everything is gamified to not question the big status quo.
Yeah, and not to move out of the system. So entrepreneurs, I believe, do that. They at times are changing the status quo.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's where the game is right now. I think
100%.
it's an exciting time. I like.
It is, it is.
I
I think there's a lot of
hope.
hope.
Yeah.
In a really messed up way because you're scared what if they fall into the same old.
Yeah.
But then
There's always
options.
somebody. Yeah. There's always options, and I think without that, I'd be afraid for the kind of world we are living. Our kids.
100%.
It's a very depressing world. Yeah.
I think that's the greatest
Yeah.
I think tragedy is that everyone wants to blame the new generation except we weren't alive when the
I
world
don't
got
think-
bad. So I mean
know.
I don't know what the problem really is.
It is. It isn't them. It isn't them. It's us.
Mhm.
It's us. Yes.
But yes, okay.
Yeah.